Okay. So what are rays? An arrow drawn perpendicular to the wavefront is what we call it as a ray. So in the previous chapter, the definition of ray was an arrow mark which had a starting point but no ending point. Now we are trying to define the same ray in terms of wavefront. So what is it? If you draw an arrow perpendicular to the wavefront, then that is what is called as a ray. Okay. So there are two general principles that are involved in it. Okay. One is rays are always perpendicular to the wavefront. So what will happen is sometimes they'll give you the shape of the wavefront and ask you to draw the rays. What are you supposed to do? Just draw perpendicular to the wavefront at every instant. Second, the time taken for light to travel from one wavefront to another, the time taken by light to travel from one wavefront to another is the same along any ray. So what we are trying to say here is, try to understand. If suppose I have two spherical wavefronts. So two spherical wavefronts are produced due to the point source. So sometimes what they will do is they'll give you the wavefront and ask you what is the source. Sometimes they'll give you the source and ask you what is the wavefront. Or what they can do is they can give you the source and wavefront and ask you to draw the ray. So at that point, what you should do is you should know how this ray is supposed to be drawn. That is, we know that rays are always perpendicular to each other. And the second most important point that you need to know is the time taken for the light to travel from one wavefront to another is the same along any ray. So we know that the rays are perpendicular to these wavefronts. So when you draw these rays perpendicular to the wavefront, then what is going to happen? They take certain time to travel from one wavefront to another. If you calculate the time taken by this wavefront and the time taken by this wavefront, they're trying to say that they both will be the same. That is the meaning of the statement. The time taken for light to travel from one wavefront to another is the same along any ray that you consider. That is the meaning of it. Okay. So these are the two general properties.